It is Tuesday, May 26. Welcome to CGN News. The state of emergency in St. Lucia will be extended until September 30. St. Lucia has seen all its COVID-19 patients recover with no deaths recorded. The nation is approaching reopening in phases and is set to open back borders on June 4, welcoming international flights from the United States only. To ensure the safety of visitors and locals, new protocols will be implemented and will span from the hotel booking process to the airport arrival and hotel experience in St. Lucia. Some protocols include: visitors are required to present certified proof of a negative COVID-19 test within 48 hours of boarding their flight. Travelers will be subject to screening and temperature checks by health authorities. Health and safety protocols will be reinforced through the use of signage that includes QR codes, which take travelers to a landing page for more information. Another group of deportees from the United States is slated to arrive in Jamaica next week, adding more pressure on the government, which is already struggling to find quarantine facilities and money to house Jamaicans returning home amidst the panic. About 40 deportees are now being processed in the U.S. in preparation for the flight as early as next Tuesday. Last month, the U.S. deported 46 people, the first return of Jamaicans from overseas after the country's borders were closed by the government on March 24. At that time, the U.S. Embassy in Kingston declared the deportees would have been tested for COVID-19 and would not be deported if they were ill, as the health, safety, and well-being of detainees in immigration and customs enforcement are among the U.S. government's highest priorities. After they arrived, one member of that group tested positive for the virus. The government of Trinidad and Tobago has been communicating with various cruise ship companies to make arrangements and schedule the return of nationals stranded abroad. The first 6 nationals arrived in Trinidad on May 23. 53 more nationals will arrive on Monday. Upon arrival, Trinidad and Tobago nationals will be medically examined and assessed by public health officers and will be subject to state quarantine arrangements. Minister of National Security, the Honorable Stuart R. Young, is engaged in discussions surrounding the entry of the remaining 300-plus nationals and the management and timing of their return. The government continues to carefully manage the return of nationals in a manner designed to protect both those returning as well as the population in Trinidad and Tobago. International news now. Africa's coronavirus cases have surpassed 100,000, according to the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The pandemic appears to be taking a different pathway in Africa, the World Health Organization said. It is not yet clear why. More than 3,100 people have died from COVID-19 across the continent of 1.3 billion people. By comparison, when Europe reached 100,000 cases, it had more than 4,000 deaths, the WHO said. One worrying development is the number of infected health workers, more than 3,400 in a part of the world where staffing is largely threadbare. Some workers have threatened to strike over insufficient protective gear. Health officials are not seeing a lot of community deaths or massive flooding of hospitals because of COVID-19, the WHO said. Cases could increase significantly now that many countries are easing lockdowns. The situation across the continent remains quite varied. In the past week, 4 African countries had an increase in virus cases of over 100%. Thousands of protesters took to the streets of Hong Kong Sunday to oppose the Chinese government's move to impose a controversial national security law which threatens the city's autonomy and civil liberties. Police fired tear gas at crowds less than an hour after the start of the march, which did not receive official authorization and went against coronavirus social distancing restrictions. An online stream showed protesters throwing objects at police. Protesters had begun gathering around midday in Causeway Bay, a busy shopping district, despite a heavy police presence across Hong Kong Island. Attempts to claim that the march was a permitted health talk were unsuccessful, and police quickly declared the protest illegal and ordered people to disperse. The children of slain Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi have publicly forgiven their father's killers, sparing 5 government agents the death penalty. Salah Khashoggi, the late Saudi critic's eldest son, posted the pardon in a tweet on Friday. Laylat el-Qadr, or the Night of Power, is considered by Islam to be the holiest night of the year. Muslim governments typically issue pardons on the month of Ramadan. According to Saudi law, a pardon from a son of a murder victim serves as a legal reprieve. Last December, 5 government agencies convicted of Khashoggi's murder at the kingdom's Istanbul consulate in October 2018 were sentenced to death. 3 other people allegedly involved in the case were given prison sentences. Overall, 11 people were put on trial for Khashoggi's murder, which sparked a global outcry and dealt a blow to the kingdom's reputation. That's it for CGN News. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Scott Wilson.